Have you ever felt like you had to be the adult in your own childhood? Like your feelings were too much, or never quite enough? Like you were responsible for keeping the peace in your own home, even as a child? If any of that sounds familiar, this video might explain why. Today we're looking at 8 signs you were raised by an emotionally immature parent, and what that quietly does to you as an adult. Emotional immaturity in a parent doesn't always look like shouting or neglect. Sometimes it looks like a parent who made everything about themselves, who couldn't handle your emotions without making them their own, who needed you to be okay, so that they could feel okay. It's subtle, and because it was all you knew, you probably didn't have a name for it until now. Sign 1. You became the emotional caretaker. As a child, you learned to read the room. You noticed when a parent was upset before they said a word. You adjusted your own behavior to manage their mood. You made yourself smaller, quieter, easier. Not because you wanted to, but because it felt necessary. This is called parentification. It teaches children that their job is to manage other people's feelings before their own. Sign 2. Your emotions were dismissed or dramatized. When you were upset, one of 2 things happened. Either you were told you were overreacting, it's not a big deal, stop being so sensitive, or your emotion became their emotion. Suddenly, you were comforting them instead. Neither response taught you that your feelings were valid. So as an adult, you either suppress what you feel, or you don't trust your own emotional reactions at all. Sign 3. You struggle to ask for help. When your needs were consistently unmet growing up, you learned a quiet lesson, that needing things is a burden, that it's safer to handle everything alone. As an adult, this shows up as fierce self-reliance. You wait until you're completely overwhelmed before reaching out, and even then, it feels uncomfortable, almost shameful. Sign 4. You're hyper-aware of other people's moods. You walk into a room and immediately scan it. You notice tension before anyone speaks. You pick up on a shift in tone, a look, a silence, and your nervous system responds instantly. This isn't intuition. It's a survival skill you developed as a child, always monitoring a parent's emotional state so you could prepare for what was coming. Sign 5. You find conflict unbearable. Not just uncomfortable, unbearable. Even minor disagreements can feel like a threat. You might apologize immediately, shut down, or go out of your way to smooth things over before they escalate. When conflict in childhood meant emotional chaos, your nervous system learned to treat any tension as danger. Peace at any price becomes the default setting. Sign 6. You have a complicated relationship with your own needs. You find it easier to identify what everyone else needs than to know what you need yourself. When someone asks what you want, there's a pause, a genuine uncertainty. Growing up, expressing needs may have been met with guilt, irritation, silence. So you learned to not need things, or to need them very quietly, where no one could see. Sign 7. You're drawn to people who need fixing. Emotionally immature parents often have needs that spill onto their children, and children who grow up managing those needs can come to associate love with effort, with earning, with being needed. As an adult, this can look like repeatedly choosing people where you are the stable one, the helper, the one who holds everything together. because that role feels familiar, safe, like love. Sign 8. You are very hard on yourself. When a child cannot make sense of a parent's emotional unavailability, they often conclude that the problem is them, that if they were better, quieter, easier, the parent would have shown up differently. That belief doesn't leave when childhood ends. It becomes an inner voice that holds you to an impossible standard, that notices every mistake, that rarely lets you simply be enough. If you recognize yourself in any of these signs, I want you to hear this clearly. None of it is your fault. Children adapt to the environments they're given. The patterns you developed made sense then, even if they're harder to carry now. Recognizing them is the first step to changing them, and that takes real courage. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore the quiet psychology behind the patterns that shape our lives, with gentleness and without judgment.